I wanted to cover some of the manners, but I don't think we're able to continue. It's almost time's almost up. But I mentioned some of the manners very briefly of dua. And this recording, I'll try to record. If anyone loses stuff, don't worry about it. I'm going to upload this on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, so I'll put this up, inshallah, this time, sometime this week. Just ask Sheikh Tariq for the details, inshallah. Some of the manners of making dua, that's important. How do we make dua? We always wonder, how do we make dua? We hear Sudais and every Ramadan, we hear the Imam making some long du'as. Like, how can I do something like that? Or how can I make my dua answered? Here's briefly, some issues or some manners of making dua. Number one, praise Allah. If you look at Surah Al-Fatiha is a big dua. And the whole structure of Surah Al-Fatiha starts off with praise of Allah. Before you even get to Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, you're praising Allah. So that's the first element of making dua, praising Allah, and sending salah upon the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam before one makes one dua. Another means of making dua is to, not means, but another way you can better one's dua or manner of making dua is acknowledgement of one's sins. Acknowledge you are weak, you are abd, you need Allah, you are in need for yourself. Acknowledgement of one's sins and how you are in need of Allah. Number three is humility, supplication for Allah is to have as much khushu', as much humility as possible. Also, to be short in one's dua. And there's a hadith here that says, basically meaning that don't ask Allah by saying, اغفر لي إن شئت. As in, don't say, forgive me if you wish or if you feel like it. Be sure, say, Allah forgive me. Don't say forgive me, because even Allah's Messenger said, as a response to this, he said, because no one, لا مكر له, there's no one who can force Allah to do anything. So don't say, forgive me if you wish. That's indirectly saying that if I didn't say that, then you have to. As if you're giving Allah the ability, the choice to answer if you wish. No, just say Allah forgive me and be sure on what you want to, what's it called? Also another means, a manner of making dua is to make dua in difficulty and ease. Don't just know Allah in shiddah, and when it comes to raha, mashallah, you don't even know Allah exists. Try and build up a connection. And that's what's important about building up this connection with Allah. And like I said before, don't make any mental distinction between dua and dhikr. They're both in and it's the same thing. If you want to make more dua, but you think, what can I make dua for? Make dhikr. Husn Muslim is filled with dua. If you have an iPhone, there's a whole app you can download, the Fortification Muslim. As you're on the train, there's a dua for you on your iPhone. There already. Also, one of the benefits, and this one's a very important hadith, I'm really sad I can't even mention it, is about the Messenger of Allah. But basically, the point is that it's also something that's beneficial to a da'i to make dua in three times. Like the Messenger of Allah made dua against Quraysh in threes. And the hadith was a bit long hadith, but it was about when he was in Mecca and he made sujood and he put on his back the intestines of a camel to make mockery of him whilst in Mecca. That when he got out of that, he made dua upon them 3 times. He made dua upon him, says, Allahumma alayka bi Quraysh, Allahumma alayka bi Quraysh, Allahumma alayka bi Quraysh. And when that dua was made, the laughter that Quraysh was in stopped because they were scared now that they had made dua against them 3 times. And then he made dua against 7 people, specific people. And the narrator said that, Wallah, Allah, those 7 people were the ones who were killed in Badr and they were thrown into the Badr in humiliation in the Battle of Badr. One of the adab of dua is facing the Qibla, raising the hands, another one, using the use of a siwak before one makes the dua. The performance of a good deed. Sometimes it's good to do a good deed before one asks Allah. Like I mentioned before, a means of getting close to Allah is with good deeds. So sometimes you can give good deeds. Maybe if you feel you really need to ask Allah for something important and you really want this answered, so you just go and donate a grand to your local masjid and ask Allah. Obviously don't announce it, because it's not good to announce sadaqat and that kind of stuff, unless there's a benefit, there's a maslaha shar'i. For example, maybe you're imam of the community, you want people to encourage to do good deeds. So you do a good deed in front of them to encourage them to do a good deed. Like what happened in the Intifada, like in Palestine, when the Intifada happened years back, about 7 years ago when it started. Saudi Arabia did a massive national telethon to gather as much cash as they can to send to the Palestinians. and they televised it. Obviously they encouraged people, so they had ulama coming in. It was a 24-hour thing, and if you turn on the TV, you would see it was just that for like a whole week. It was amazing. There was one time a woman, full hijab, abaya, niqab, walked in. You could see this little box, and she pulled up her arm, took off all her gold, and emptied it in the box. And that was constantly, they had this little, just as in, it's not an issue of showing off, it's an issue of encouraging others to do good deeds. Because in that particular case, the Muslims in Palestine were in need, and they still are in need. So they encouraged people to give as much as they could. And there's one story, subhanAllah, this was, mashallah, may Allah reward him greatly for what he did. A guy even sold his house, moved in with his mum, and gave the proceeds to the Palestinians during that week. So there's no harm in doing a good deed openly, as long as there's a muscle, there's a benefit shari'i. But generally, it's encouraged to hide your good deeds, as the hadith says, up to the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is giving. Making wudu before making dua. Also, if a person can, and obviously I'm not talking about crocodile tears, but if a person can shed tears out of humility and love for Allah and acknowledge one's sins during the dua, that's obviously a means of Ijaabah, for Allah answering the dua. Also, another one that's important, not to necessarily, it's encouraged even in Islam, it's encouraged not to have too much takalluf in making du'as, and you want to give some long du'a with rhymes in it and stuff. If you can, without any kind of su'uba, there's no problem. But sometimes people, they takalluf, they say, I was writing up a du'a with a nice little rhyme in it and stuff. It's not necessary, it's even discouraged to do that. And one of the ulama, as ulama, I think as Khattab, not too sure, he said that this was not known at the time of the Sahaba that they would unnecessarily go and make their dua super long and with some rhyme in it, like some poetry. And that's another thing as well, but no benefit or manners of dua is to make your dua general and not make it specifics. Oh Allah, please give me a car with the wheels and the tires and the thing and the. I mean, it must sound silly, but that's what happens. Allah, please give me a good, what's in today and what's for tomorrow, and that's what now. And sometimes people go on too much asking for the one thing when they could just say, Allah, give me good. Also, the one manners of making dua is make dua for oneself before anybody else. And the second part is to make dua for other than yourself when you're making dua. There's so much more, but don't get a parking ticket. So inshallah, we'll stop here.